Okay, so this is what we are doing. So the very first thing, whenever you're given this kind of information and someone tells you to pivot, this kind of table. First of all, why are we pivoting? It's because this is what we call a big data worksheet. Big data. If you can see here, we have we have type, product, etc. up to these unitary prices. If you're told to come and interpret this table, really, you'll not be able to see the tail nor the head out of this. Trust you, because if I say control down arrow, I'll go all the way to this arrow that has got about 15,121 rows in total. So if you as a chief finance officer, you're given this kind of data, you will not be able to, comprehend it even. Or rather, if you comprehend it yourself, then you will not be able, ladies and gentlemen, to do what you'll not be able to explain it to anybody. The very best thing is to pivot. And the thing that I would want to pivot, ladies and gentlemen, here is this one here that we are calling the volume. The one that we are calling the volume. If I just go down a little bit, there is this column, middle column, column G, which has got my volumes here. Column G is the one that has got my volumes, and I can check again. If I say control and I use the up arrow, those navigation keys, there are four of them. So if I say control and I'm holding on to control, and then I press here the navigation arrow, it'll take me to the very top here. So I can see these are volumes here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these being volumes, and I would want to add them. Let me just go down, kabisa. So if I go down, those are the volumes. If I would want to add them, it's not possible. These are 15,000 rows. Being 15,000 rows, you can't start using like now equals. You start saying like summation. So sum is here. And then you start, in this case here, this concept of doing what you're like, for example, like now you want to start scrolling here. You scroll this thing up to tomorrow. But of course, you can use a shortcut if you wish. The very best shortcut, ladies and gentlemen, here will be for us to come and escape first here. So here we are. I've been able to put this thing to where I would want the total. I want the total of these volumes here to be placed here. So I should be able to know that I can easily use what we call alt equals. If I press on alt, there is ALT. If I press on alt, and then I say still pressing on alt is pressed permanently until I finish this exercise. So alt, and then I press equals, I'm able to get that formula for summation. So I can sum even if there are 30,000 rows. I can sum them up, yes. And then of course I'll be able to press what there? Enter. I'll be able to press there, enter. There must be some hidden rows there or something. So when I press enter, I'm able to get 15. Let me just check again. So when I say here, alt equals, let me see whether it's going to the very end. You see, it's not going to the end. It's not going to the end. There must be a space in between. There must be a space somewhere here. No worries. It's about 36. So when it does like that, I should be able to come and, in this case here, carry this to the end. I should be able to carry it to the end like that myself. I should be able to carry it to the end. Quite a cumbersome job. You can imagine if I was to start from 15,000. Doing like that. Great. So in this case here to the last one here. Okay. So when I say enter, then I should be able to get this 2 million and something. Total volume. This is not what I wanted to teach you, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, please listen. If you're given like say 90 here, you're given 78 here, you're given 56 there, you're given in this case here 60 whatever, and then you want to get its total. To get the total here, you don't do this thing like you are a young person. No. To get the total here, I'll always say alt equals. Can somebody in this case, ladies and gentlemen, just copy a few numbers there and then practice this concept of alt equals? Practice the concept of alt equals. Is there somebody who is able to do that? Is there somebody who is able to do that? We practice this thing of alt equals, and then if you're able to do it just like the evening class, you put up your thumbs like this. You can just type like any three numbers, and then you practice that thing of alt equals, and then you should be able to say, hey, now I'm a little bit okay. You can just copy any numbers. You can decide here to put, for example, 80. You have, for example, 70. You have, for example, 89. And once you finish, you are down there, you'd want to get the total of the three. Then what you need to do is to come here and say alt. You're still holding on to alt. So you say alt equals like that. And then you say enter. This is quite nice, as opposed to saying, young people, this is what young people do, amateurs in the industry will tell you that whenever you want to sum, that you should come and say, yes, summation, and then in this case here, you click this is an amateur, somebody who doesn't know Excel very well. And then you come and highlight these three, that's an amateur. Then you say enter, that's an amateur. A very serious Excel scratcher. Somebody who is able to scratch Excel to the depths will not use that kind of a formula. Will not use this kind of a formula. So is there somebody who has been able to do that? At least Grace has been able to do it. How I wish guys would respond a little bit. Esther has been able to do it, because I always rely on your responses here to know how to move. Of course, if you're not able to do it, it's not your, okay, you can't force yourself. You simply say, I'm not able. I keep on repeating severally. I repeat severally until all of us are comfortable. All right, done. Thank you so much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this thing does not make sense. So please go to this where if you try to get this total here, rub it. That one you must rub it. Rub that total from there. This table does not need any number down there. So then I would want us to go home. So if I say control, up arrow, I'm able to see this. So I would want to take this opportunity to teach you guys how to highlight an entire table easily. How do we highlight an entire table easily? It's very easy. I would want the first thing in pivoting is to highlight the entire table. So in this case here, to highlight the entire table, you come and put your cursor on top of the column title. The first column title is this column A, which has a title of year. You put your cursor there. You click there on the year. And then, ladies and gentlemen, here you're going to use three fingers. Which things are you going to hold on to? You're going to hold on to this. You shall use three fingers. We have control and shift, which will use your left hand. Use your left hand to hold this. Control and shift. All right. So remember, your cursor is here. I hope you're able to see control and shift. So you use your left hand. So control shift. You hold on those permanently. And then once you have been able to do that, now there are two key arrows. We have, ladies and gentlemen, the arrow, navigation arrow showing the right side, So you only hit it once and then release. You hit it once and release. You're still holding on to control and shift. You're still holding on to control and shift. And then, ladies and gentlemen, now you'll come straight away here and do what here? Hit the down arrow. Once you hit the down arrow, you'll be able to highlight all your rows up to 15,121. Up to 15,121. So if there's somebody who has been able to do that, I will repeat again. Ladies and gentlemen, what I did. Sorry, for the students who have just joined us, there is an Excel workbook that has been shared in the group. An Excel workbook that has been shared in the group. Once you open that Excel workbook, I want you to go to a specific Excel sheet. Those Excel sheets are very many. You must know how to navigate using this. You must know how to navigate using these two small arrows here. So you navigate, you move around up to the point where you are able to see the pivot tables. This is the one that I'm using today. And once you get these pivot tables, ladies and gentlemen, then you need to come here and know how to highlight everything. How do we highlight everything? How do we highlight everything? Ladies and gentlemen, it's very easy. It's Control Shift. You hold on to Control Shift. Once you've been able to hold on to Control Shift like this, there are 4 navigation keys. Remember Control and Shift? You shall hold on to this permanently. And then the 4 navigation keys, you hit the right one. Right one. Once only. And then you release. And then you'll come and hit what here? The down one. You release. You release the navigation keys. You don't release Control Shift. Control Shift you release after you're done with everything. Let me repeat again, ladies and gentlemen, because it's quite sensitive. The first thing you do, you come and highlight the very first column title. The very first column title here is year. Once you've been able to highlight the very first column title, then to be able to now, ladies and gentlemen, bring everything under highlight, what you do, you'll come and say Control Shift. You hold on to this permanently. Once you've been able to hold on to them permanently, now you play around with what here? You play around with your navigation keys, and we start with the right key like that. Only once you shall touch it. Navigation key, the right one. You touch it just once. I'm still holding on to my Control Shift, and then I touch the down one. I'm able now to highlight everything. I will repeat again, but before I do it, is there somebody, ladies and gentlemen, who has been able to do that? Vero, my daughter, today you're not speaking at all. Have you been able to highlight like that? I mean, you guys must support me by asking questions, by saying, Mwalimu, I've not been able to do it. So I can draw this wheel very well. At least I can see 3 charts here. All right. All right, and yes. All right, Vero, thank you. All right, all right. I have about 10 ninjas who are not saying anything. These 10 ninjas who are not saying anything, And I would really want us to move together. This is the most important skill you can ever give yourself. The person who taught me Excel, that's over 20 years ago, really did something big in me. That's a person I will be forever indebted. There is no interview, even at the CFO level, I can go and then I fail, because most of those interviews would want to see your knowledge of Excel analysis, deep Excel analysis. That's why if you look at, for example, most of the Windies, if you've ever worked with the Windies, most of them are just CPA Part 1. But their level of knowledge of Excel, very few people can match Windies in terms of knowing Excel. Very few. They really invest in their kids. Like now I'm teaching 2 of their very young kids. Some Windies approached me. Very young kids. They start training them very early, Excel. But for us, because nobody has told us how big, how huge, how great Excel is, you get ourselves as ninjas here. We are doing this Excel at age 30, age 40. Of course, it's not all lost, but I mean, don't allow your kids to go through that. Excel is supposed to be taught. By the time, in this case here, a kid reaches Form 4, he should be able to know how to pivot. He knows everything in Excel. That kid will not lack what they should be doing. They should be doing Excel and coding. Excel and coding. So I will continue these 10 ninjas. It's like they have said they'll not talk to me. I want to assume that they know how to highlight. But again, I will repeat. So I'm repeating again. So what do? You come to the first column. Please highlight from the first column title here. Then you say Control Shift. You say right arrow. And then, ladies and gentlemen, you say, still I'm holding on to Control and Shift. Then I come and say here, down arrow. After that, on your ribbon, I would want you to, in this case here, look for Insert. That is File, Home, Insert. So this Insert is what I click. When I say Insert, I can see pivot table, I can see recommended tables. A lazy ninja always goes for recommended. But we are not lazy ourselves. We shall always make our own pivot tables. So you click Pivot Table. When you click Pivot Table, you are able to see a pop-up window. This pop-up window wants me to select the range. Already I've been able to highlight. It wants me to choose where the pivot table will be placed. I've been able to do that. Of course, it's automatic here. This is what it chooses for you. This is a default here. Actually, this pop-up window, so long as you've highlighted your entire table, this pop-up window, you are only supposed to come and say, okay. When you say okay, it goes to a new Excel worksheet, which it is calling Excel sheet 3. You'll rename it later, you'll rename it later, you'll rename it later. So what you do, here we have what we call the canvas. This is where our Excel pivot table will be drawn. Then here we have what we call the pivot table fields. They are normally 4. These 4 fields are here. We have the filters, we have the columns, we have the row, we have the values. So I'll always start with what they want me to pivot, the figure that they want me to play around with, the figure that they would want me to use as the fulcrum. If you remember your physics very well, fulcrum, where you used to do like seesaw. Seesaw, we have that thing at the center. All right, that's my pivot, ladies and gentlemen, which is balancing things. So in this case, what they want me to balance, if I move around here, in this particular, these are column titles. So the one that I would want to pivot is the volume. So this is the one that I pick with me. I'm dragging it down. I drag it down. I drag it down. The one to be pivoted shall always be placed there. Volume. Volume. How I wish I had just one good ninja here. Once you discover something here, you can see upon putting this, it's reading count of volume, and here things are happening. Once you realize that things are happening, even with this morning session, when you are a bit, fresh like this, you should be able to stand up wherever you are. This is a eureka moment. It's a discovery moment. Let even people in the house know that you have discovered something new. What's wrong with dancing a little bit? Excel students dance. They dance. In this case, you must know how to celebrate small winnings. Small winnings. You must know, yes. You must know how to celebrate the small winnings. So if you're not able to dance physically, no problem. You can dance here with an emoji. If you're that kind of a shy kind of a husband who can't dance in front of the wife, no worries. So in this case, you use a dancing emoji. There is a dancing emoticon here. There is a dancing emoticon here. There is a dancing emoticon here. So please go ahead and dance, or just say there, why, for yes. There is also an emoji that cries, tons and tons of tears. It's a very good emoji. When you're not able to understand something, you simply throw that emoji, which is crying, and then I repeat, I keep on repeating. I keep on repeating. Instead of writing the word repeat in full, at least Anne is dancing. Great. Instead of using like the word repeat, using the right typing there, repeat, no, you simply use that emoji, which is dancing. Joyce has been able to get something. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. I'm waiting for those 10 ninjas to surprise me. The ones who have not been speaking to me at all since I woke up. And those 10 ninjas are the ones who in this case here woke up earliest. Boniface isn't dancing. I don't know why. Boniface, at least Estambina has been able to dance there. Great. Boniface does not talk to us this morning. He has not even danced at all. But I believe I will repeat. Yes, I would repeat. Thanks, Boniface, for asking for a repeat. Actually, next time, don't even type so much. Do what Vero is doing there. Put an emoji that is crying and let it. Actually, Vero, that is not the very best emoji. There is one that cries with both eyes. Tons and tons of tears. Rivers of tears. All right. All right. So before I repeat, I want to see whether there are like 5 ninjas who have been able to get this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I will do. So then this Excel sheet of mine is now irrelevant. I don't want to have so many of them, so I would want to come and delete it. Oh yes, I want to delete you. Then I go back here. If you do not understand how to highlight the entire table, you'll always have problems. How do you highlight this entire table? This is big data. Big data, you can't start like, now you're telling me that Mwalimu, I'll highlight like this, I'm pushing this thing, I'm pushing this thing. I'm pushing it to where? To 15,000 rows. Why should you do that? Why should you do that? Are you a child of a lesser God? No. You should simply come and put your cursor there. And once you put your cursor here, now you should be able to come and say Control Shift. Shift, in this case, shift is the one you can see in this case here, of course, where we have function. There is a shift function there around caps lock there. There's a shift function there. So in this case, ladies and gentlemen, if some computers, of course, they have it as an arrow. It's a different arrow from the one of navigation keys. This is a bold arrow. Shift is bold. It's bold. So in this case here, we have Control Shift. So I'll be able to hold on to this permanently, and then I'll be able to come here and I make use of what here? I make use of the navigation keys now to move. You know hapa, utapata mwanafunzi for some reason. Unaambia tumia navigation key. So ukimwambia tumia navigation key, kwa wanafunzi pia manager funny. Unaambia tumia navigation key, I mean. So this navigation key, you get somebody in this case here, anafinya navigation key ya kwenda huko. Opposite direction. Just like these young kids who are running. I remember some time back, I was able to see some kind of like a short video where parents took their kids. They were doing like 100 meters, right? And there was one kid there who was very, very fast. But in this case here, once these guys were told on your mark, whatever, go, this kid who presumably was quite faster than the others chose in this case here to run the opposite direction. All right. And I can remember the mother and father were there trying to chase this young man to ensure that they put him on the right track. And they could not even catch him when he was running on the opposite direction. Ladies and gentlemen, in this case here, once I come here, I've been able to put this thing on here. I'm using the right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm using the right navigation key. The one moving to the right, you know, there are 4 of them. There is up arrow, down arrow, one going to the right, one going to west. The one going to the right is the one that is on the east side. If you remember, that east where? West east. So in this case, I press east once, I release the east one. And then I press the south one, the down one, like that. So that I'm able to now highlight all the rows and whatever, the entire table. Then I should be able to come and insert. So I say insert here. I'm inserting a pivot table. So this pivot table will not even read this pop-up window, which has been able to pop up like a popcorn, right? I'll simply come and say, okay. So in the okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm able to see my space here, the canvas where the pivot table will be drawn. Then I'm able to see what we call the pivot fields. There are only 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I'll do, I'll come here and pick this volume. So this volume is the one that I drag. I'm dragging this using my mouse pad. If I'm using a mouse pad, and of course, I'll drag the volume like that. So not Stephen, but Boniface. I don't know whether in some way you've been able to reach here, Boniface. And if you're not able to reach your Boniface, are you able to share your computer or your screen? If you share your screen, I'll be able to assist you because I'll be able to see where you're going wrong. Vero has been able to do it. Great. Boniface Ochieng, are you able to reach there? If you're not able to reach there, please ask, and if possible, share your screen. I'm so sure I'll be able to help you this morning. I'm here to help you. And when you are sharing a screen, you should never be intimidated by anybody. And this is just a mention to everybody. When you're sharing your screen, don't share and then you start pulling down. No. Is there anybody who knows you are home? Yeah. Is there anybody who knows your face even? No. So when you're sharing, this is just like, for example, a nice platform, right? We are here to support you. We are here to support you. Simply share without any fear. Because you see, if you don't try to embarrass somehow yourself before us here, One time you'll be embarrassed so deeply when you miss out on an interview, when you lose a job, simply because you're not good in Excel. You'd rather embarrass yourself here, because as we are here to support you to really, yeah. Or Boniface, what do you mean? This Boniface man must be a popular guy. Is he a politician? He must be a popular guy. How comes I don't know him? What next? Great, 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 great. So then what next? You'll come in this case here. What next? You'll come here after highlighting. What next? So you have now highlighted up to here. So what you need to do is to come and say insert in the ribbon here. I hope you have that ribbon. You say insert, and then you say pivot table. Then you'll be able to see this pop-up window. You'll be able to say okay. Then you have the canvas here. Then you have the fields. There are 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I simply want you to come and drag down the volume. Is the one that you would want to pivot. So you drag down this volume like that. So it is reading count of volume. I don't, it's counting the number of rows. I don't want count of volume. I want sum of volume. Now this one is for a great ninja. To change count of volume to sum of volume is very easy. You'll come to this drop down arrow. You click on it. It will give you some pop-up there. Don't use remove field. I want what we call the value field settings. So this value field setting is what I will click. Once I'm here, I'm able to see many things. I don't want count of volume. I want sum of volume. So you click there, sum of volume. And then you'll be able to say, okay, if you are quite keen, you must really remember this total, 217, 232, 88. This is a sum of the volume here. So, and for me now to be able to understand it better and even explain it to my colleagues here, then I have to dissect this. It is this dissection of a figure you're calling pivoting. You stand on it, and then of course you break it up. You break it up nicely. So I would want to break this figure, for example, into years. So I'll come and pick the years. I'm picking the years. I can decide in this case to put the years as columns. Hooray. You can see this 217, whatever is here, ladies and gentlemen. All right. All right. It has been pivoted here. It has been broken down here. All right. That's not enough. What I'll do, I'll come and pick this product group. This product group, I'll be able to come and post them under the rows. Post them under the rows like that. Hooray. I mean, this is a eureka moment. It's a great deal. Now I can track down the performance. I can come and say, if you're the one who is in charge of alcohol, I should be able to reward you. You should be clapped through. Why? Because you can see alcohol. We began here with 222, 315. You can see an increase, another increase. This one is a kind of a decrease, but you see this is for 6 months only. So by the time he hits 12 months, it will be even double of this. All right, now we have a table. So what I'll need to do is to come and insert my slicers to be able to play around with this. I'll be able to show you guys how to do a pivot chart, which is very, very important. How I wish I had some 2 men here who are dancing that they have been able to discover this. Because I can see today men have decided to say, Mwalimu, we are not talking to you. We're not forgiving you for coming to class 30 minutes late. They are not quick to forgive. Joyce is crying there, which is very good. At least it's much better than keeping quiet. Anna has been able to get Joyce crying. We shall overcome, Joyce. You should not cry at all. Don't cry at all. You are okay. You shall be okay in a few minutes. You shall be okay in a few minutes. You shall be okay in a few minutes. Vero is laughing at me because I seem to be contradicting myself. I said people should. Then Joyce, you're not doing. You're really crying and smiling. What do you mean, Vero? That's quite funny. That's quite funny. That's quite funny. Hiyo ndio ile ya bibi wa Bahati alipopatiwa zawadi. Kumbe inaonyesha hiyo clip, alikuwa analia lakini machozi haitoki. Maybe hiyo ni kama hiyo sasa. Yeah. So I want to repeat. I want to repeat. So then I will start again from scratch. I hope now, Boniface, you'll be okay. Let me start again from scratch. So remember, the first thing we do is to highlight the entire table. So Control Shift, right arrow, down arrow. Once I reach, ladies and gentlemen, here, what do I need to do? It's quite easy. What I need to do is to come and insert a pivot table. For analysis, we must be good at inserting the pivot tables. And I would want you to start using these things immediately at your workplace, like today, or today. When you go to your workplace tomorrow, I would want every student of mine of Excel to be the Excel champions in their workplaces. That will really give you promotions. You pivot, you draw a graph. Take this to your manager. Ama utasema unajipendekeza. It doesn't have to be your manager, even your colleagues. Just show them around. They should be able to know. That's how you showcase your skill. That's how you showcase your skills. You must be very proud. Don't be proud of the other things. All right? As my students, if you're a man around here, don't try in this case to show people, so you have got 6 packs when I've got only 1 here. All right? But in Excel, you must be proud of your work. This one, like whenever I get, especially my managers, I have some Muzungu managers, and I get them in this case, you're doing a mistake in Excel. I tell them, no, you don't highlight like that. The other day I was getting 1. I'm telling you, Excel is a very, very beautiful thing. So the other day I was getting 1 doing like this, and I had even shown you. You know, there are funny things that people do in Excel. So I always correct them. I showed you this. So you get somebody in this case here, for example, we have got a big word here. We've got in this case here, for example, another one here. So somebody would want to read this thing in full. And then you get this person like this doing like this, trying to increase this manually. Now, what if these rows, I mean, these words are like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, if they're very, 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 very many, all right? What you should do is to come and highlight the entire Excel sheet. How do you highlight the entire Excel sheet? You simply come in between A and 1. You come here, you press, and then you're able to highlight the entire sheet. And then now you go to any column here in between, any. Once you reach here, you should be able to double click. And then all these words now will be able to perfectly fit. Excel will adjust itself. Every day, there is not a single day I pass around, because I'm sort of a manager here. There is not a single day I pass around, in this case here, people desk, and then I don't realize people making simple mistakes. People struggle with Excel, and Excel is not supposed to struggle with it. I should be able to work very hard until I reach, if there are like now these things of accountants, which they prepare like every day, the same in terms of what here, for example, even colors, financial statements for whatever. Once you have repetitive tasks, then I should be able to record a macros, VBA. All right. And once you reach that level, trust you me, you'll be poached. People will be able to scout. You know, there are people who keep on wondering, how comes I'm working for this company now for my 15th year? I mean, there are no people who are seeing that I'm bright outside there. This is one of the ways that I want to bring to your attention that can make people come to steal you. All right. All right. These are things when I was telling you guys to pay for this, when I was forcing you guys to pay for this course, these are things you could not see that time. That's why you were really crying. But you see, I'm visionary. I knew exactly what you guys wanted. And once you clear the course, everybody will be very happy. Actually, we even be forced to add something small to me. All right. So we shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. All right. All right. So let me go back now here. So pivot tables. So under these pivot tables, what am I doing, ladies and gentlemen? Very easy. I've been able to highlight everything. So I'll come here and say I'm inserting a pivot table, and I'll be able to say, okay. So once I say, okay, this thing comes there, I'll always start with what they want me to pivot. They want me to pivot the volume. So I drag this down. Once I drag it down, Joyce, see this, it's reading count of volume. It's basically counting for you the number of rows. I don't want the number of rows here. I want the value field. I want this to be in terms of money, in terms of units. So I want the value. So I'll come here and I say value field. Then here, this pop-up window, I only want the sum. And then I'll be able to say, okay. So Joyce, confirm that you are now able to see the sum there as 217. Joyce, how I wish Joyce would dance. Unfortunately, again, there are very few accountants who know how to dance. Very few accountants in the world. I think I only know one accountant who knows how to dance, and that is me. So Joyce, now have you been able to pick this up? I think I'm alone. I'm alone. I'm alone. Joyce, are you able to share your screen? Are you able to share your screen, Joyce? Are you able to share your screen? You don't mind? Are you able to share your screen? So long as you know how to drag the volume, you're able to drag it down. You drag using your mouse. Ah, great. Yeah. Great. So please go back to the pivot tables. We start again. Just go to pivot tables. Let's start again. Okay, so say insert. So right, so pivot table there. Pivot table, no, okay. We want to start afresh, okay, no problem. So you highlight everything. At least Carol there is dancing. So insert the pivot. Insert. Yes. Yes. So now drag down the volume. Start with volume. Now, once you are there, you can see that don't move there. You can see in your values there is a drop down arrow. A drop down arrow. That one. Oh yes. Then underneath remove field. After remove field down there, you'll be able to see value settings. Value field settings here. Click that one. Click it. Yeah, now you're able to see the sum. Because currently it's at count. Now you should be able to go up one step because there is sum in your pop-up window. There is sum, there is average. Yes, that one. Click once and then you say, okay. All right. Now don't pull it down, please. You're the one now guiding us. Now I would want you to come here and pull the ear. You drag the ear to columns. Drag the ear to columns. Drag the ear to columns. All right. Beautiful. Now look for the product group and you drag it to the rows. Product group, and then you drag it to the rows, product group. That one, yes. Great. Discovered. And you can see in this case here, we have that figure of 217. That figure of 217, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe if we were to leave this session here, all of us are now happy. So see you tomorrow at exactly 5:00. I'll not come in late. Great. Great. And I'll be able to upload this, first of all, in YouTube. Once you get in YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, I would want really you guys to support this Mwalimu. Very happy. Great. 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 Veronica, this is the best skill. This is the best skill you can ever get. So thank you very much. Be blessed and enjoy your holiday. I don't even know which holiday is this. Nowadays, we lost track. These holidays used to make lots of sense when Moi was alive. When Moi was alive, I would come out and even watch the soldiers marching. Nowadays, I don't know even which one. I lost track, but we shall overcome. Jamhuri, thank you so much. Bye. Bye. Then happy Jamhuri Day. Happy Jamhuri Day.